Welcome to Losing a Child, Always Andy's Mom. On this podcast, we journey through the devastating experience of the death of a child. Grief is seldom discussed openly in our culture, and the death of a child makes people feel even more uncomfortable. We approach the topic openly and honestly, speaking to people who have lost loved ones and experts who help care for them. Whether you are a parent experiencing loss or someone who wants to support another going through this tragedy, this podcast strives to offer hope and help.
Welcome to episode number 353 of Losing a Child, Always Andy's Mom. I'm Marcy Larson, Andy's mom. Today, I have the pleasure to introduce you to Caryn. Caryn is Josh's mom, and I was really looking forward to talking to her, and I'll give you a little bit of insight as to why that is at the beginning of the episode, so I won't go into it now. But I do love what she has been able to do with her grief journey, and I think it's pretty amazing how she's been able to help other people. So we'll go into that as we get on with the episode. But I do want to talk now about our episode sponsors. So the episode sponsors for this week are Jessica and Mona. And if you remember Jessica and Mona, they were here last week and they were talking about La Luz de Isaiah and Mona's son Isaiah. And I want to read to you the email that they wrote to me at the same time that they made that donation. So they wrote, "I wanted to thank you again for welcoming us onto your podcast. It truly meant so much to us. Our first experience was nothing but a beautiful reinforcement of our mission, and the conversation felt so genuine, supportive, and aligned. We're really grateful to have shared that space with you. I also wanted to share that we made a donation today in honor of Andy's birthday. We're wishing him a happy heavenly birthday and holding you and your family in our thoughts, love, and prayers today and always. We're so grateful to be connected and hope we can continue to stay in touch as we all grow and support one another in this work." So I appreciate that so much. They sent that donation in on Andy's birthday. They sent a $250 donation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that this episode is sponsored in honor of Andy and in honor of Isaiah. And we're going to say that kind of goes back to last week too. So they're sponsoring two episodes. So their episode from last week and this one this week as well. And I was really, really touched because if you remember, they are just starting this nonprofit, this La Luz de Isaiah. They had their one big project, obviously in Isaiah's memory, but now they're trying to expand their focus and give gifts to other bereaved parents to help them really help memorialize their children and give them that gift. And so they are asking for donations to help to be able to do that. So I feel like it meant so much to me that even though they really need donations for their own organization, they donated to this one, to me, in honor of Andy's birthday. And that just meant so much to me and really just goes to show what wonderful, amazing human beings these women are. And I just so appreciate what they're doing. So if you didn't listen last week, I encourage you to do so because it was pretty amazing. And again, if you would like to donate, you can go to andysmom.com to the donate page or go to Give Butter and donate that way. You can donate $125 for one episode. I guess $250 for two, but thank you so much for that. Right now, though, I just want you to sit back and listen to Caryn, Josh's mom. Thank you so much, Caryn, for agreeing to come on the Always Andy's Mom podcast today.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
I am excited to have you. I didn't tell you why I was excited, but let me tell you. So a few weeks ago, I had some guests on. They were from Canada, a couple who had lost their daughter to cancer, and they're just a lovely, lovely couple. I had them on. I took a month break kind of as a little self-care in the month of February. And so they ended up being, I think, my second interview after kind of coming back and restarting. And she talked about what an amazing thing hypnotherapy was in her grief journey and how it made such a huge difference. In fact, the words she used were she started doing this hypnotherapy, and I don't know how far in she was to it, but she said there was a day, and it was about 5 years after her daughter died, and she had this revelation, and she said, well, here I am. Like, this is me. Yeah. I feel like me again. And she 100% thought that was due to the hypnotherapy. She had her husband do the hypnotherapy. She had another one of their kids do hypnotherapy. I mean, she's very excited about it. And it was literally not that far after me interviewing them that you wrote to me. And I thought, well, this is fortuitous, right? This
There
felt
she is.
a little bit meant to be, because obviously you're not the hypnotherapist that she had. That's out of Canada or whatever. But I didn't know very much about it. And I also didn't have her really go into it because she got a lot of benefit from it. But yeah, she's not going to talk to me about what it all entails and all that.
Right.
So it worked out just great to have you email, because I thought, okay, this is kind of going to tie back to their story a little bit and how that was so helpful to them, and then how you have used that to kind of help others. So I know that's getting way ahead of ourselves because we're not going to talk about that for a bit, but I did want to kind of lead with that because I felt like, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Right? How timing works out and how things are just meant to be at certain times. And
Everything.
I feel like you were meant to email me within that couple of week period that they were on.
Yeah, that's cool. And everything happens for a reason. I totally believe that.
Yeah, good. I do too. I do 100%.
I cannot tell you how happy that makes me to hear that she saw such results with hypnosis, because hypnosis is amazing. And I say every therapist should use hypnosis because it's this miracle tool that we have that people aren't even aware of. It's not magical. It's not woo-woo.
And people really think about it as almost like a party game type of thing. Like you go to some event and they have, I remember in college when they have the hypnotist
the stage shows
and whatever, right? The stage shows. And what's funny is it actually was the year Andy died. So in the spring of 2018, I went to a medical conference and they had someone there who taught it was just a couple hour class on hypnosis and hypnotherapy and how that can be really beneficial. For example, one of the things that they did for that were kids getting shots, having to go and get shots or getting, frequent IV draws, and how you can use hypnosis for that and have them have, with kids, you talked about having like a magical arm that it was of numb and didn't feel it. And they taught us a few things and I was so impressed by it. Mm-hmm. I actually looked into, me and one of my other partners looked into going and getting training because you can get training as a physician to do some hypnosis in the office to help patients. And I actually looked into it, and then it was not very many months later that Andy died, and then that all just kind of went away. But it all brought all of this back by having that guest on and then having you, and it is so much more than a stage show, and it can be effective in a lot of different arenas. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I'm excited about this, but that's not what we want to start with talking about today.
Okay.
Right? We want to start by talking about your son, Josh.
Yes.
Do you want to start out by just telling us all about Josh?
Sure. Yes. And thanks for having me. I'm really excited to talk about hypnosis and how much it helps. And that's what I use in my grief retreats because it is truly magical to like let go of emotions and stuff. So,
I was blown away with it in the medical community. I really was. I thought the medical benefits were just beyond what I ever really thought,
Oh, but, yeah. I mean, I'm seeing a bedwetter now, and literally like in like a session or two, the child stops bedwetting. Like it is truly magical. And I always say, like, I don't know how it works. I'm not magical. I just know how to do it. So
Right. Exactly right. Exactly right. And the little things that they taught us, it was really cool. Like,
Mhm.
oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah. I'll talk more about it.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, but let's start about Josh.
Yeah. So Josh was a champion wrestler. I have 3 boys. They're all wrestlers. He was amazing. He was Olympic hopeful. He was a 2-time state champ, state runner-up, a multi-time national champion. Really amazing wrestler. Went to school college on a full scholarship when he was 23 years old, and he had no fear. I remember the Mother's Day before he died in a motorcycle accident. He was climbing on my roof, cutting some twigs for me and telling me he was invincible. And he literally told me that day 3 times he was invincible.
Wow.
And it was a week and a half before he died.
Oh,
And
my.
what I believe now is that he truly did believe he was invincible, and it was his soul that's invincible, right? Because they don't just go away.
Right.
Body clearly wasn't, but yeah, he had no fear. He went all out, and he loved the motorcycle. And if he could have written his own story, it would have been to go in a motorcycle, to die in a motorcycle accident, and he did. And yeah, he was smart and witty and kind and generous, and just a really fun kid. He was so in love and had a engagement ring for his girlfriend, and
Oh.
yeah, and then he had a motorcycle accident, and it was very quick.
So which one was he of your 3?
The oldest.
He was the oldest. So he's the one that made you a mama.
Yeah. He was my first baby. So yes, and that was in May, so that month is coming up, and I know I've spoken to quite a few moms about the retreat that's coming up in July, and a lot of times it's like the birthday's coming up and the anniversary of, the angelversary is coming up, and just like my heart hurts for you, because no matter what, as as that parent, it's always those anniversaries and birthdays, and it's like it shouldn't have been that way, right? So we
No.
always move through
No.
that. Like they should be here.
Yeah, we just had Andy's birthday last week. It was really hard. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so crazy. So Andy died when he was 14. He would have been 22, and I think 22 just felt so old, because it felt like he'd be a man. He'd be all grown
Yes.
up. He'd be looking possibly at the end of school. He'd be thinking about his long-term career. Would he have a girlfriend? I mean, those are all these things. And I think the part that made me so emotional is that I can't imagine him at 22. Right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I just can't. He was 14. He was barely started puberty. Like, I can't imagine what he would look like, what his personality would really have turned into, all of that. So I think, there are certain things that just
It's the whole,
get
right?
you, right? Right.
whole.
Yeah, it's the whole.
Mhm.
It's the whole. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. So how many years will this be for you in May?
It'll be 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we're at 7.5. I mean, it'll
Yeah.
be 8 in August. It's just, I mean, some parts of it get a little easier, right? A little less sharp and jagged,
Mhm.
but the missing
Yeah.
is still there.
Yeah, and that's what I say, it's not quite as open, gaping, bleeding wound, and it's always an open scar that just is never going to heal.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then you
Yep.
just accept it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I work with a lot of people for grief now in my hypnosis business.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
In the beginning, I always said, a loss is a loss, and it's really hard, whether it's your parent or your spouse, but
Yeah.
what I'm learning this far out, that was in the beginning. What I'm learning this far out is I can see people that have lost a spouse and they are devastated, right? It was their
Yeah.
life, and I get it. And
Yep.
it was part of them, and they don't know how to live without them, and they had every moment with them. And I get that. But as time goes by, the parent that lost the child, it's different. It's
Yeah.
a different wound. It's physical. It's part of our souls. It's a different, as time goes on, it's different.
Well, it's part of us, right? It's part of us. And I've always heard it said, when you lose your parent, you lose your past.
Yeah.
And you lose your spouse, you lose your present. But when you lose your child, you lose your future. And I think that is so, so true. Right. And it's all nice to say grief is grief and all grief is the same. And it's like, it's a nice thing to be able to say. And I feel like that's the acceptable thing to say in society anymore, to not compare grief. And I don't like to compare grief either, because I mean, your grief, whatever you're suffering from, may be the worst you've ever had. Okay. And my grief, I've lost my mom. I lost my mom when I was 21. It was devastating. I didn't think anything could be worse. And then I lost Andy. And it was not at all the same. So, and now that's my worst. And different people's worst may be different. So I don't want to compare that way. But yet to say all grief is the same is really, really not true, because it's not, right?
Yeah. Yes, it's that club.
So, and I don't want to belittle what other people are going through, because it's the worst thing they've gone through, and they can't imagine anything worse. Yeah. And I couldn't either. Right.
And it hurts. Like, how do you even put a number on grief, right? Because it's damn painful.
Yeah, right.
There's just like, you can't compare. It's just, it sucks, right? And I say it's always, since Josh died, it always surprises me when I look around and see how many people have lost children. And it's so painful. And how many of us have, like, when you're not in that club, you don't really realize how many, you're like, oh, maybe I know one, maybe not. But once it happens to you, you're like, holy cow, like thousands, hundreds of thousands of people go through this all over the world every day. And it's so painful. How do we survive it?
Right. Because you don't think you can.
No.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, about your early grief journey. So obviously Josh was killed in a motorcycle accident, right? Talk about that a little bit.
So, there was a rough year. I had just attended a 4-month leadership course because things were really hard in my marriage. And I was like, who am I? I was at that stage in my life. It's like, I don't know if I do know this is not good for me. And I knew that God had big plans for me. And I was stuck in a very unhealthy situation. Been married for 28 years. And I went to this leadership course, and I just realized, like, this is just, I prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed, but it was not a healthy situation for anybody, including the boys.
Yeah.
And so we had just told the boys that we were getting separated and divorced. And I knew, when I decided, that wasn't a threat, because it had been way too long of too many threats, right? We had just told the boys, and literally like 8 days later, Josh got in a motorcycle accident and died. And so it was the year from hell, because like you just said, I will never forget where I was sitting in the sunroom with my friends all around me, and no one had really known what we were going through in our family. And I remember saying, I honestly, and I am not kidding you or exaggerating, don't think I can live through this.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do it.
Yep.
It was just that phone call. It was his boss, who he was working as a carpenter for that summer, that called and said, I have to tell you something. Josh has been in an accident. And I knew he rode his motorcycle that day. He didn't live with us. He had just bought a house. And I said, well, okay, how bad? And he said, really bad. And I said, okay. And he said his friend that works with us was in the car next to him. And so he saw the whole thing, and he's there. That's how I know. And I said, well, what do I do? What hospital he's going to? How do I meet him at the hospital? Because I'm thinking he's going to be at the hospital.
Yes.
And he said, I don't know, but I would suggest you call the police department. So I called the police department. The woman on the other side said, I need to call the dispatch. I need to call the sheriffs and find out, and we'll get back to you. And I thought, ooh, that's not good.
Yeah.
And maybe like 3 minutes later, maybe 4 minutes later, I'm just waiting, right? My husband at the time called from work, and I had just walked in the door from my hypnosis day, and the youngest son was home, and he said, I had to tell you something. I said, yeah, I already know. Josh has been in a motorcycle accident. And he said, he's gone. And I said, what? Like, did I hear you? He's gone? And he said, yeah, he's gone. They said, don't come to the scene. And that was it.
Wow.
He came home. Then the middle son came home. Then people started arriving. And I will never forget when the sheriffs walked up the driveway and asked for Mrs. Bird. And I said, that's me. And they said, are you Joshua's mom? I said, yes. And they started to say, I said, you don't have to tell me. I already know. I mean, like that classic that you see in the movies where they come to your house and tell you, like, that was it. It was the classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that day, right? Like, and you remember it like as yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you remember what they said to you exactly too, don't you? You know?
Word for word. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And I have written a memoir, and it starts, right there on that day. So I have edited and re-edited and rehashed it. And some days I'm like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
But it's all there in the memoir. So, yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, it's hard. I know Andy was killed in a car accident too. So the accidents are, I don't know. It's so sudden, right? It's just like you're having your normal day and then suddenly you're not. Everything has changed and it's never going to change back.
Yeah. And haven't you learned though about like every single moment is like precious because things can change so quickly.
Yeah.
Like
I know.
Yeah.
Like you're having a normal conversation and then everything can change. Everything can change.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that grief journey then and how things started for you.
I have a very unique situation and I feel so blessed, really, in so many ways. And I attribute it to my strong relationship with God, my recent graduation from this emotional intelligence course that was like emotional boot camp. I remember saying at the time, this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my whole life because they are just, it's so emotional and they stretch you to your max and just growing and stretching. So there was that. There was my relationship. And then, of course, I have the tools because I'm a hypnotherapist.
Yeah.
On the power of your mind.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I did every single day, I think starting maybe 2 days after Josh died, I said every day I choose joy. Every one of my Facebook posts, I choose joy. And I didn't believe it, but I said it. And so these little tricks, right? So I had a lot of tools that I feel so blessed that I had. And then the night Josh died, I heard him in the middle of the night, like he was next to me. Like I heard him and he said to me, Mom, when can I come home? In his voice. And I opened my eyes and said, you are home, honey. Because he was in heaven, right? That was his home. And I wanted him to know that it's okay. Like you don't have to come back here. This is your home now. I want to cry just talking about it. It's 6 years ago.
I know.
Yeah.
So awesome though, to have that. That's like a little gift that you got, isn't it?
Oh my gosh. I had so many gifts and blessings that I was just given in the journey. It's crazy to me, which is part of what the memoir is about. Yeah. And then, maybe a couple of weeks after that, he came to me at night and I heard him and he said, Mom, with God on your side and me by your side, you're going to be okay.
Wow.
And I was like wide awake. It was the craziest thing. So yeah, just these little blessings. And then I had hypnotherapists and friends that like were teaching angel classes. And just a few days after he died, I sat on the deck and I had the most unearthly peace. come over me. I have no idea. I cannot attribute it to anything but the Holy Spirit. And I just knew I was going to be okay. Like, yes, I'm in grief. Yes, it's the hardest thing, and I'm going to be okay.
Wow.
It was awesome and crazy, and I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
And then from there, I had this spiritual like awakening and friends coming to me and connecting me with Josh on the other side and angel classes and soul fragment classes and things I didn't even believe in as a hypnotherapist. I was like, no, I'm business. I am all business. That stuff's woo woo. I
Yeah.
work with athletes. I don't do that soul stuff. I don't even know where people go except maybe heaven.
Yeah. Yeah.
That whole journey opened up for me. So it was a massive awakening.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, talk about your hypnotherapy. So obviously you've been doing hypnotherapy a long time. So you can talk about that, kind of what things were like and maybe how things changed a little bit after Josh,
Yeah.
because I think they changed quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been a hypnotherapist for 22 years.
Uh-huh.
And the first, maybe, until Josh died, I guess. Again, it was all business. I specialize in working with athletes for confidence and peak performance, helping them get their believe in themselves again and coming back from injuries. So that's where I'm known as in the hypnosis world. And I'm pretty well known in the hypnosis world as being the sports hypnotist because I have a teaching and training and certification course.
Mm-hmm.
And I do work with everybody for weight loss and smoking and, stress and bedwetting and fears and all of that, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like you said. So that was my practice. I have a practice at the doctor's office. I have a practice at a training facility. And then after Josh died, I got to ask you a question about that in a minute. After Josh died, I realized that there is so much more to us and this world. And yes, we have powerful minds. And yes, our subconscious, it's literally just a shift of perspective that can change your whole world. And the thing is when people are in grief, and this is what I do in my retreats, and I love it because they know it's out there, but they don't know how to make the shift.
Mm-hmm.
And with hypnosis, it's asking the right questions in a relaxed state where the conscious mind is not overthinking. It's not thinking, oh, I can't do that, or criticizing or critiquing, bypassing that inner mean guy or inner mean girl and going to that wisdom, that higher self. And it truly is. And it's a God-given thing, but it's that piece of us that doesn't filter, that doesn't analyze, that has the answers for us. And when it comes to grief, it's like, what do I want and where can I access that within me? Because no one can give it to you. I can't give you this. I can't give you this gift, but I can help you access it. And
that's just beautiful. I feel like that is a huge struggle that I have had, and I know lots of bereaved people have, is talking in absolutes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never going to be happy again.
Mm-hmm.
I won't be able to do this. And I know it bothered my husband because I used to do that at the beginning. I used to say, it's never going to be. And I use those absolutes all the time because you start to believe what you can and can't do, and you can get in your own way.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that you started by talking about that, about how to try to get past some of those things, because I obviously didn't do that through hypnosis. It was really my husband saying, I can't hear you say that anymore. I can't hear you say, I'm never going to be happy. We're never going to be, like this. It's always going to be like this, because he said, I just can't live thinking that it's always going to be like this.
And look what you've done with it.
Yeah.
Like, you have done something amazing and touched so many lives with it, right? Like, when you made that shift.
Yeah, it was a big shift though to be able to make. And still you still catch yourself doing things a little bit, right? You still catch yourself. I still catch myself occasionally doing things, but yet I can recognize it a little more now. than I could right away.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a journey.
Yeah.
It's a journey.
It is a journey. It is a journey.
Yeah.
So go into that a little bit more. Talk a little bit about what you do and what this can do for people.
Yeah. And so I'm working right now with a woman that has lost her daughter.
Uh-huh.
You know, I told her, I said, and she can't come to the retreat because she has a wedding that weekend for her daughter that passed away's best friend. And so she's like, well, I want to work with you individually. And I said, I will absolutely work with you individually. And to give you just an hour of my time is so different than if I can just immerse you in like all of the work that we can do in 4 days, right? So it's just a lot, right? Because there's so much and there's so many layers to grief.
Yeah.
There's the anger that it happened at someone else. There's the sadness, which is massive, right? But anger is that protective emotion. So it's easier to be angry at yourself or someone else than to feel sad. So we use that as the top emotion, right? And then there's sadness. And then there's fear that's going to happen to another kid in some relationships, in some lives and families. And then there's shame and guilt and regret. And those are horrendous emotions, right? Why didn't I stop it? What could I have done? How come I didn't say that? What if I would have, right? The what ifs.
Yeah. And so much of what you do as a parent is protecting your kid. So I always feel like, you know, when I would get really down on myself and feel guilty, I would just think to myself, well, at the end of the day, it was my job to keep him alive and I couldn't do it. Right? And that's then, yeah.
And you know that's not logical, but emotionally?
No, I totally know it's not logical.
And no, but emotionally and subconsciously, it's real.
Yeah.
It's real.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
100%.
And so that's the hard part is emotions. On the surface, they're real, but emotions are not real because they can shift and morph at any time. Yeah. And so with the hypnosis and the hypnotherapy, it's recognizing the emotions first. What are the emotions? What does it feel like? And then one of the big things that we do is we don't want to be stuck in it like in normal therapy. We want to find out, what does it look like when you're on the other side? What does it look like when you do have it again? Because so many people are like, it'll never happen again. Okay, and if it did, what would you be doing differently with your day? Who would you be with? What does that look like, right? So we're creating the picture. Mm-hmm. So now we want to know what it looks like on the other side. We want to know, like, what does it look like for your child that's in heaven? Like, what are they seeing? What are the best things about them? So we go through all that. But then it's literally releasing those emotions that are so heavy after you acknowledge them, experience them, and can identify them. Release them. How do you let that go? I help you do that into the heart center, through the heart center, because we hold emotions right here, which is why they get here, which is why we cry, which is why we can't speak, which is why our throat gets closed, because emotions get stuck right here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like when we touch a hot stove physically and we touch the hot stove and we go, ow, right? Yeah. Ow, that hurt. We do that with emotions too. And the big bad ones are so severe, they close the heart, right? And then we don't know how to see anywhere else. And then we walk around like this because we're in so much pain. We have no real estate in here to think about anything else but just living.
Well, and I think about many times about what my therapist told me, because it's difficult to want to let go of some of those things. Right?
Because if you do, you might forget them.
Yes. And exactly. Yeah. And you think, illogical as it is, you think that's what's keeping them close.
Yes.
My sadness, my anger, my guilt, all of these emotions, that's what's keeping them close. And I remember my therapist saying to me, Marcy, those things are not what's keeping Andy close. No. Your love for him keeps him close. Those are the things you can let go of. Right?
Yeah. And I believe that the more you can let go of those, the more you're in that higher vibration of happiness, the more they can reach you. And I've seen this happen.
Mm-hmm.
an interesting story is I went to Egypt. It's right the last chapter of my memoir. I went to Egypt. I didn't know why I was going to Egypt. I just ended up going to Egypt. I never wanted to go to Egypt, but like you said, things happen for a reason. And one of the women there was she was an angel channeler, and she was channeling Mother Mary or something. And she said, Josh wants you, so Mother Mary's saying, like, if you can't let go of things here, you're going to hold on to it forever. And then she said, he wants you to let him go so he can still run and play with the gods here in Egypt. And you're holding him so close and so tight. And I started crying. And of course, it was an emotional, spiritual place anyways. And I had to sit in that and cried all the way through a temple. And what I realized is that I was holding him too close. I was like, don't leave me. Don't leave me. Like, I felt like emotionally, like, right? Like, don't leave my side. I need you. I can't live without you. And then the next day, they were all going to a temple, and I was so tired. I was like, I'm staying on the riverboat on the Nile, and I'm just gonna like relax and meditate and be. And I got a very strong message from Josh, and he had told me the day before I left for Egypt, bring my ashes to Egypt. And I was like, what? Bring your ashes? And I heard him say, yeah, bring my ashes. Well, I had no idea what I was going to do with his ashes. I thought, oh, okay, I just got this message, bring his ashes. So I'm laying on lounge chair on the deck of this riverboat, and I hear Josh say, put my ashes in the Nile at sunset and sink your sadness with my ashes and let me be free. And prior to that, I had done some soul work and stuff, and I had been told that when my lake of lavender and blue turned to orange, my sadness would be gone enough so I could help others through theirs. And I remember I live on a lake saying, lake, turn orange. I am so tired of this. Turn orange. Like, when is the lake going to turn orange? And it wasn't turning orange. Well, I had no idea this was supposed to be in Egypt. And I put his ashes in the Nile, and cried my heart out. I felt like he had died again.
Yeah.
Literally, I felt like he had died again. And the next day, I was a different person. I was so light, and I felt so free. And I still knew Josh was there, but I was not holding him so tightly.
Yeah. I think it's the fear. I think it's fear that kind of comes over us, that we feel like we don't want to.
Yeah. Irrational fear. But
so, it's totally irrational.
Yeah.
Totally.
And so these are the things we do in hypnosis is, I don't know the answers. I don't know where your Egypt is. I don't know where your Nile is. I just know that I can help you get to the space where there's somewhere within you that there's a shift that will help you to release what's holding you back, and then to feel the freedom again of what does it feel like to be joyful and happy and love life and free from those emotions that are destroying you since the day your child died.
But still keeping Josh close. I think that's the part that we need to keep reminding people of, because I think that's what will make people fearful of wanting to do this, because it's just such a fear of, if I let go of that, it means I'm letting go of him or her, right? I'm letting go. Yeah.
I know this without a doubt, is all I have to do is call his name or think on him or call him, and he is right there. And he told me that. He said, Mom, you can let me go. And I know I don't need to protect you anymore or watch over for you, but all you have to do is call my name, and I am there. And I literally can just close my eyes, feel him, tap into him, and I know he's right here. So he's right here. Beautiful. I just am not it's not the needing, the wanting, the holding tight.
And it's not the fear having you to just grasp onto everything. Right? Yeah. So talk about your memoir a little bit more.
Oh gosh, that's it's a crazy story. So the first chapter starts the day that Josh died, and the phone call I got, and the experience, and brings people into it. And then it backs up a little bit about where I was in my life and how that all transpired in the last day with Josh, and which was Mother's Day.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, so May for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
Mother's Day. Right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes back and backtracks a little bit, and then it comes back forward, and then it moves through how all these amazing blessings showed up in my life to teach me these things, like I said, angels. And I mean, I knew angels, they're in the Bible, yes, but for me, it's like I never connected with an angel. So to me, it was weird and odd, but I'll tell you,
Yeah,
like,
I don't have any. I can't
yeah,
say to any of that. I don't know. You know.
yeah, that's all part of my world.
I'm like you were, I guess. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's okay. Like, but these blessings like helped me heal so much. And friends stepped in and, do you want me to do a session for you? Like hypnosis session. I was like, yes, like anything to help me
Right.
through this. And so I had that amazing year of just opening my eyes to everything. And again, still cried out to Jesus, like, carry me. I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot do this without you. Like, carry me. So it was a whole year of that. But in between that, a friend had reached out that I had gone to high school with. And he said he was studying mediumship. And he said, your son's coming to me in a couple dreams. And I've gotten some messages on the way to work. I don't know how religious you are, but if you're interested, let me know. We hadn't talked in like 20 years. And I was like, well, if my son's coming to you in dreams, like, yes, I need to know this. Like, what the heck is that, right? So we talked on the phone, and he said, did he know that we went to France together when we were in high school on this group trip? And I was like, no, I never mentioned your name. I never mentioned anyone I went to. That was forever ago. And he said, well, interestingly, because we went to France, on my way to work, I got this message from him to put on the song from Moulin Rouge in France. And he said, I've been resisting getting a hold of you because I thought you'd think I was crazy. Like, that was it. That was the final message. He was coming to dreams. I finally he told me to put this song on. And so I just had to tell you that your son is still around. And I'm getting this feeling that you're doing okay, but his dad's really struggling. And I said, oh, that's interesting. Do you know that we are going through a divorce? And he said, I had no idea.
Yeah.
So I'm asking all these questions, like, how do you know this? What does that feel like? Like, what do you mean you have message? Like, all these questions,
Yeah.
it's all so foreign to me. What the heck are you talking about? Every now and then, so he gave me that information. Every now and then he would like reach out, and for months, right? And I was going through a divorce. So I was like, no man ever again. I never want to be with a man again. Like, no way. He would give me little messages like, hey, I got this song that is, I was doing a mediumship class. I asked for a song for someone, and this came through, and it was like just once a month, like barely ever heard from him. And then we started talking and being friends. And then after my divorce was final, a whole year after, he went to a angel channeling and had asked about some past lives with my son and me. And we hadn't had a past life, but my son had said that he was on the other side orchestrating a few things, that he would court me because they were in a ballroom or whatever in this past life. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, my son doesn't get to tell me who I'm going to be with again. And you're just my friend. And I don't know what to even think about this. Right.
Yeah. Right.
So
that feels a little weird.
What is going on in my life here? Like, what the heck? Right. And this is all my memoir because it's like my journey of this like woo-woo stuff. And we just started talking, and I had lots of questions for him about kind of spirits and souls, and because it was all so fresh and new. And we just started talking and becoming friends. And then he gave me that message, and I was like, well, okay, all right. So we went on a date or two, and lo and behold, we fell in love. And my journey has been very interesting since. So it's that whole journey about that, and then ending when he was like, I'm going to Egypt with this group. I had 24 hours. He's like, do you want to go? And I said, I don't know. I never wanted to go to Egypt, but I had like this 24-hour window, and he was going to go. And I was like, yeah, I'll go. And I ended up in Egypt. And that's when I had the whole experience. And like, it's a 2-year journey of my healing.
That is quite the answer. I was not expecting all of that.
There you go.
Wow.
There's my memoir. It's crazy. It's like, and I know now that this was supposed to be written because it's written from Josh and I. Like, a lot of it is messages from him because now I get messages from him and what to write. And He told me to change my name to Caryn, so I'm now Caryn. It was Caryn, I'm now Caryn. But it's our memoir of those 2 years of him after he died, but still in my life, and then how our relationship developed.
Wow. That is a lot. So is this something that people can buy
Well,
or did you not publish it?
I just finished it, and I am.
So you just finished it. So it's
I'm
not
getting
published.
a publisher, so now I get to go through that whole process.
So we're working on it. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
But what we can tell people about are your retreats, because you do retreats now.
Yeah.
So talk about that and what those all entail. Okay. And there's one coming up not too far away. We are not sure if at the time of this release, if there will be openings or not, but talk about what that's going to be like.
Right. And just want to let you know, for the memoir, I do have a running list of anyone that's interested as soon as it comes out. So I can give you the link for that.
Okay.
I'm just have an email running list. I'm not sending any emails, but it's a list for when it comes out or starts to, when it launches.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So the retreat is a 3-night, 4-day retreat in the Blue Ridge Mountains in North Carolina. And I have been to many retreats myself. First of all, an emotional intelligence course that I realized that the immersion of and the experiential experiences with people that are going through a similar journey is priceless. Mm-hmm. And then retreats myself where we like the hypnosis world, right? Like tapping into our higher self, tapping into our soul self and being able to release what's not serving us, which I do in my sessions. But again, they're just an hour long. So it's like, I have to see you for 8 sessions and there's time in between. But in the retreat, it's like this experience where you can just move through everything in the most beautiful way. And it's not about rehashing. It's not about sadness. It's not about hanging on to anything. The first night is identifying and releasing. And from there on, we start to build connection, and we build connection with ourselves, with who we are now, because we'll never be the same as we were before our child died, who we want to be, and then connecting also and feeling our child. So feeling that energy, because what I've learned is it's kind of like a note. Like when you hear a certain note, like the C note, a musician knows that's a C. It's very similar to their energy. Is when you can experience it, when you learn it, you know when that note is there, and you can call that note in. So I teach that, I teach how to get there. I teach how to get into your own heart center. And we have different exercises because we also know that grief lives in the body, because we know that when something like a birthday is coming up, we feel it in our body. We could not be thinking about it, and the body holds it, right? Yeah. It's a physical thing. And some people, when their grief is really hard and they're hanging on to a lot of emotions, it creates physical ailments and sicknesses. Mm-hmm. And so we move through that. Like, where is it? Where are you holding it? And then helping move through it and release it out in nature. And so we do different experiential things, and it's really a fun weekend.
It very much reminds me of another thing that my therapist would say. Is she would say all the time, the body remembers. The body remembers, right? So I was in the car accident with Andy. I have lost about 30 minutes that I have no recollection of. But she'll always say, but your body remembers. Like, it means that your mind does not remember, your body remembers. And I can think about that night and that accident, and I can be there. When I came to kind of remembering, I was sitting on the side of the road. It's August. We're in the ditch. The grasses are long. I can feel them on my body. I can feel what that felt like. I can hear the wind in the grass. I can hear people everywhere. I mean, there are just things that, like, those are the things that the body remembers, even when I don't. Like, there were no sirens going on at the time when I woke up. There were like fire trucks and ambulances and police cars everywhere. But they didn't have any sirens going. But yet, for a long time afterward.
Mm,
Every time I heard a siren, my body would react
me too.
because my body remembered. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's interesting that you say me too, because you weren't even there.
I wasn't, but I hear a siren, not now, but for a long time, I heard a siren and I would go fight or flight.
Yeah.
Mhm,
And
'cause
it's
I knew.
interesting because my therapist does not use hypnosis, but she uses EMDR, which I think it's not the same, but it's got some of the same principles, I
Yeah.
would say, right?
Similar.
Similar principles. And
Yeah.
that was incredibly helpful because you've got to try to let go of some of those things. And now I don't go completely freeze up when I hear a siren.
Yeah, I'm so glad you found a good therapist because many people can't find a good therapist to help them through that. But, the
Right.
other thing I wanted to mention is that our body feels it. What was it? You said our body feels it. The picture in our mind of the last image is haunting.
Yes.
And so like at the retreat, we can, because this is in the back of your mind, right? It's a picture. We change that picture. So it's not haunting you anymore.
Yeah. I mean, let me tell you, that would be beautiful for me because that picture of them doing CPR on Andy and the needle poking out of his chest, I can't unsee that. And it haunts me still.
Yeah.
I mean, that is something that I just, I can't unsee. And I mean, you can see me here. You can see me getting emotional because I'm picturing it. I'm picturing that.
Yeah.
And watching his body go up and down as they're doing CPR. It's so incredibly difficult.
Yeah. So we have a really long exercise that we do that helps to reframe that and change the picture. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be a beautiful thing for me. Here I am crying and weepy about it, thinking that would be beautiful.
Yeah. It's so much, right? I know.
Yeah, it's so much. It's so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
It's so much.
Yeah.
So how can people find out more about your retreats and what you're doing and things like that?
Really, it's my name, carynbird.com/retreat is
Okay.
the website. I can give you the link. And if this one in July fills up by the time this airs, which it probably will, because I keep it at a smaller group because I want it to be intimate and I want it to be able to work with everyone and it's kind of personal. I will be holding another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my name is my website, carynbird.com/retreat. And there's all of the information there, like all of the information and messages for my son and why I do it and what is included. And it's all right there.
Is this the first retreat you've done? Like full
Second
4-day
one.
retreat? Second one.
Yeah. Yeah. The first one, I wasn't sure. I was at a retreat myself and we were doing some meditation activations. And near the end, I just had this awareness because I was like, what am I supposed to do with this? I know I'm a hypnotherapist, but what am I supposed to do with this experience that I've been through other than write the memoir? And I just had this clear and absolute knowing you're supposed to do retreats. And I flew home, and by the time I got home on the airplane 4-hour ride, I had the whole thing already mapped out exactly what I was going to do. So it was easy, and I did
Isn't that crazy? I mean, I really feel like it was, for me, that's similar to the podcast. So Andy died in August. It was January. I remember very specifically, it was January. I was home. I was not working anymore because that did not go well. Me going back to work, and I'm trying to find a podcast for bereaved parents, and I can't find one. I can find one for grief in general, but I can't find one specifically for bereaved parents. And I asked my husband, and he started looking because he thought certainly there has to be one, and he couldn't find it either. And I just had this overwhelming feeling, and I just said out loud, I think I'm supposed to do one.
I love that.
And I immediately wanted to take it back because I knew if I said it out loud to my husband, then he was going to make sure it happened. And it felt crazy. It felt
Mhm.
crazy to me.
So did this
because-
retreat. Like, what am I doing?
Like, what am I doing, right? Like, I've never done a podcast. I hadn't even listened to a podcast, except my husband did one that I would occasionally listen to, but let's just be honest, only occasionally, right? So I didn't know the first thing about it. You had gone to a retreat, but you didn't know the first thing about running a retreat or what that would entail.
And that's why I never did. I was like, way too much work. No, thank you.
Right. But God put it on your heart.
Yeah.
And you knew it had to happen.
Yep.
Right? There's some things that you just, I feel like God puts on your heart and you know, like, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
I felt like that when we took in Valeriano into our home. Like, this is
that's
what
my
I'm
foster
supposed
girls.
to do. This is my son, and this is what needs to happen. And I felt like that with the podcast. Like,
yeah, and you're right.
I have no idea why you want me to do this, but I think you want me to do this, and we're gonna do it.
Yeah, and then it's like, just lead me through it, because this was not my plan. And it was the same thing.
Yeah.
We had foster girls. I was like, this is not what I wanted to do with my life, but you're going to lead me through it now, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Exactly right. Exactly right. You got me into this. Now get me through it too.
You darn well better lead me here.
Yeah. Well, I love it. I love how we've both kind of felt that overwhelming calling. And I love that the first one went so well that you're like, okay, we're doing this, right? Yeah. So you've got the second one coming in July, and you think every few months you'll probably be doing another one, right?
Yeah. Because the hardest part for me, which I do not enjoy, is the marketing piece. And that seems to have come easier than I thought it was, because it just fills up. Yeah. So I'm like, well, now I have to do it because people want to come and it's filling up. So I'm just going to keep doing them, I guess.
Yep. As long as people keep wanting to come, great. Right. I feel like that's again like the podcast too. And I told you at the start of this that I took a break in February, and it's funny because I really needed the break. I really did. And at the beginning when I started the podcast, I had to ask people to come on, right? And then it got to a point where I didn't have to ask anybody. It just like people just wanted to be on and contacted me. And then it was in December when I was really feeling kind of bogged down, and then it got into January and nobody was wanting to be on. And then I like, okay, I guess this means I need a break. This is what I guess God is telling me, to take a break, because I had not gone without having like 2 months scheduled for years, really. Mm-hmm. And then to have the well just sort of dry up and nobody want to be on, like, that felt like something, again, I needed to listen.
Absolutely.
And so I listened. I took that break, and then now I've got like months planned out again. I've got them. It's April as we're recording this. It's April, and I have my podcast planned into August now again. So because seriously, as soon as I kind of took that break, and a couple weeks into that break, they just started coming. People just started coming and reaching back out. And again, I haven't had to reach out to anybody. It's just all people wanting to come on. And then that's when I felt like, okay, God, because when I'm in that break, I was like, okay, if you want this to keep going, then you're just going to have to put people in my lap, because I'm not doing anything else. I'm not going to go out and market, right? Like you, I'm not going to go and ask people, like, if you want this to keep going, then you just have to send people. And he has.
Yeah, I love it. Right. And that's a lesson, though, that I have to constantly tell myself is when I try to force something and make it hard, it doesn't work. But when you just surrender, right? And that's the same thing with grief. When you surrender to it, like, this happened, I'm surrendering now. I'm going to let it move through me. I'm going to surrender to it. Then the path becomes easier.
Right. And that's what you did with your retreats.
Yeah.
You surrendered and like, okay, people just are showing up. They're showing up and they're wanting to be there and they're wanting to take part, and you can give them a big gift.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you so much for reaching out and
Thank you.
being on the podcast today. I think it was really, again, this was something that was meant to be. It was meant to be at the time that you called. It's meant to be at the time we put this out. I'm sure there will be people that will reach out to you and either go to this retreat or one in the future. So thank you.
Yes. And thank you. I always feel like there's this special connection between parents, moms that have lost a child. Like we just get each other.
Yep.
So thank you.
100%. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. If you found this helpful and would like to support the podcast, please leave a 5-star rating and comment. To help financially, you can type Andy's Mom, one word, to the number 53555. This provides a link to GiveButter, which allows donations through PayPal, Venmo, Apple Pay, or credit cards. GiveButter will provide a receipt of your tax-deductible donation, or you can visit the donation page at andysmom.com/donate. Always Andy's Mom is a registered 501c3 and can receive donations through Thrivent Financial and Benevity. Marcy loves hearing from listeners. Please feel free to reach out to her via email at marcy@andysmom.com or on the Instagram or Facebook Always Andy's Mom accounts. Sign up for the email list to get weekly episode links as well as pictures of Marcy's guests and their children. Together, let's work to inspire hope, one day at a time.